A huge thank you to Elements Photography Magazine for sponsoring this week's video. Hello everyone, Michael Shamelin here, and welcome to another landscape photography video. Today we are on the beautiful California coast, and it is a really nice day for photography. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Michael, what do you mean by nice day? I can see around you, it looks really flat and overcast. And well, you're right. But I've created some of my favorite images under lighting just like this. All it takes is a little bit of creativity and some exploration. So yeah, let's get out there and see what we can find. You can already see out there in the distance some of the really incredible textures in the rock. So we're gonna get close to that and see if we could make some interesting compositions. All it takes to capture this stuff is a bit of walking and a bit of looking. Actually, a lot of walking and a lot of looking. All right, well, I think I found my first textures to focus on. A bit of a surprising day today because, as you can see behind me, the fog just randomly dissipated. I thought it was going to be here all day, and sure enough, we have some direct light back there, which is a good and a bad thing. It definitely makes the day a bit more interesting, especially if we plan on doing sunset. Funny enough, it makes these texture images more challenging because now we have to contend with the direct light. So what I've done here is I've found some open shades. So let me show you what this looks like right now. All right, so this is the rock wall. And look at these beautiful Tofani patterns. I could zoom into a telephoto perspective to really isolate some of these shapes. There now we have kind of a Y shape that's created by the empty space. And then we could do something wider that includes more of the patterns on the right or the left side. And I'm doing this with my Tamron 28 to 200 millimeters just because it gives me that versatility to switch between a wide angle and a telephoto shot. So to get a good exposure here, I'm doing ISO 500 just to give myself some breathing room. I'm doing f8 and then letting the shutter speed be whatever it needs to be right now. It's at about 1/100th of a second. So here's my first test shot, just kind of playing around with some of those textures and colors. I thought that sharp S shape in the middle was pretty interesting, but overall this composition wasn't quite as clean as what I was initially going for. When I started looking through my viewfinder again, I realized there was a lot more possibilities for a really intriguing zoomed in shot. So then I took this. This composition is a lot more simple than the previous one in terms of its structure, and I really liked the prehistoric mood to this image, almost resembling some kind of dinosaur skull, or maybe a dragon head. One of my favorite techniques when it comes to finding shots like this is to take a photo and then within that frame see what other compositions can be found. And oftentimes by zooming in and removing more distractions, you'll come up with a much cleaner overall composition. Get off me. All right. I think maybe right here too. Kind of makes a nice circle pattern. Man, these flies are aggressive today. Buzzing around. I really loved the color palette for this image, and especially some of those really nice circular patterns towards the bottom of the composition. Now to me this does resemble some kind of figure maybe sitting down, or some kind of alien creature, with that darker piece of rock being the face that's kind of in a profile position. But I'd love to hear from you. What do you end up seeing in this composition? Please let me know in the comments. And if you want to give your interpretation of any of these compositions, I'd really love to know, because that's one of the most fun things about shooting this style
style of landscape photography, is being able to come up with these really interesting stories crafted out of simple, ordinary objects. But all of these are completely open to interpretation, and I absolutely love hearing your guys' thoughts on these.
And if you're not sure how to photograph a scene, if this looks overwhelming, start wide, start out with the widest shot you can, and then just kind of work your way into the telephoto shots. Let's keep exploring. And since the sun is out, we need to find more of that open shade. But honestly, I see some fog starting to roll over, so the sun could get hidden pretty quick. That's the thing about the coastline, especially when you have the marine layer. You never know, like it'll be foggy 1 second, sunny 1 second, foggy again, and it's really tough to gauge what's going to happen. Ooh, I think right here, I could be crazy, but I think that there's a face in this composition.
Okay, so this one was a real treat to capture because I don't know if you see it, but to me this totally looks like a face depicted in a Picasso painting. As I was shooting this, I took a few different variations, some giving the face more breathing room and then some a little bit tighter, and then I also switched from a horizontal shot to a vertical. Now I ended up going with the horizontal because I felt like it had a better balance to the overall composition, but I'm really glad I took the extra frames just to give myself some choices later on during post-processing.
I think I found something else to photograph here. So all around me are these little tufani kind of pockets, I guess you could say. Here's what I'm talking about. You can see the beautiful patterns up here. Really interesting textures. I could try one wide and then maybe even zoom in and look at that. I don't have anything profound to say about this, just think it looks interesting. So let's try and photograph it. Still sticking to the ISO 500 to give myself the handheld versatility, doing f9, 1/60th of a second here.
While wandering around, I also found two more compositions that really resembled faces, and they ended up being some of my favorite shots of the day, and here they are. So this shot was a lot different than some of the other ones I was focusing on because I'm actually using the edge of the rock and the sky as the background here, which not only helped to accentuate this facial profile, but also gave a really nice color contrast between the warmth in the rock and the blue tones in the sky. Here's another rock face. This one to me looks like an Easter Island head. Now this photo is a little more complicated than the previous ones because it's one of the only shots where I had to do focus stacking, because that blue rock face on the right side was much closer to the camera than that background was. So I ended up taking two shots, one for the face and then one for the background, and then I did a focus stack in Photoshop. One of the questions I get asked is how I stay inspired, especially when I'm not out taking photographs. And one of my favorite things to do is look at other artists' work. And that's where today's sponsor comes in, Elements Landscape Photography Magazine. Elements is a digital monthly magazine that is beautifully put together and features some absolutely stunning work from some of my favorite artists. And what I love about it is it focuses on many different styles of photography from photographers around the world. Beyond showcasing just photographs, they also have really helpful articles that are written by some incredibly talented photographers. I recently went through the July issue, which had an awesome interview with Sandra Bartoga, and the February issue had a great interview with Charles Kramer. And what's cool is I found out about a lot of amazing artists that I had never heard of before. So if you're looking for a little extra inspiration to get your creative juices flowing and get you excited about taking more photographs, I highly recommend checking out Elements. You can also use promo code Michael15 to get 15% off your annual subscription. All right, now back to the video.
All right, so I saw some really cool patterns over on that side that has just a mix of like reds and oranges, different shapes, a lot different from what I'm focusing on here. So I'm gonna head over there and see what else we can capture. Yeah, this right here, this is a cool perspective. So I've got the tripod out right now just because it's a little darker, and at this point I'm kind of feeling like you know, fine-tuning some compositions without having to handhold the shots. But let me show you how cool this is, because I think this is really, really cool. It would help if I take off the lens cap, of course. Look at that, where the darker rock meets the brighter rock. That could make for a cool shot, I think. But what I was really interested, the thing that really caught my eye about this perspective is up here. If we zoom in on some of these patterns, there is a lot we can do here. And these patterns go on for a while, so it's all about just finding the right patch to focus on. Right now I'm still using the 28 to 200 millimeter lens, and I'm finding that most of what I want to shoot is on the telephoto end of this lens. Now that I'm on the tripod, I'm just going to take this down to ISO 100, make sure I have my steady shot off, and everything out there is at infinity, but you know, I'm on a tripod, so why not? I'm just going to shoot f8 here, and I'll let the shutter speed be whatever it needs to be. In this case, it's about 1/10 of a second. I'm going to put my timer mode on here, 2-second delay. What a day of photography it's been. I'm going to keep taking a few pictures, but I gotta say, I am getting to the point of being almost burnt out of taking pictures. I've been taking pictures now for, what is it? All day pretty much. All day I've been taking pictures since I woke up till now. I need some food, a beer. That's about it. I think I'd feel bad if I didn't at least explore some of the rocks that I see to the right of me. Yeah. Let's go see how they look. Okay, so I found something else that I think is really cool. And I'll show you what it looks like, of course. Look at these strange blue swirls. They are really cool. It's getting kind of dark, so the video looks pretty dark, but when I do a long exposure, I'm able to get so much detail here. But I love the way the composition kind of swirls in, and you've got this point in the middle, and I've been playing around with moving in different positions. I see some other swirls in here, but this is really cool. I've never seen anything like this on the coast before, so I'm really excited to shoot this. I'm going to switch over to f16, ISO 100, and that puts me at about a 1-second exposure. And I'm keeping that same flat plane of focus so that I don't have to focus stack. Although just for good measure, I am going to do a focal point for the corners, just in case.
What I love about this shot is the different mood that was created here versus some of those more jagged, dramatic textures from before. This one feels very light and airy, almost blissful, kind of like gazing up at some swirling clouds or the night sky. And overall, this was just a lot of fun to shoot.
Just when I thought I was about to pack up and leave, that's how it always goes, right? You're about to leave, and then you find something really cool. The reason I have my tripod so wide like this is so that I can shoot through it and avoid seeing the tripod in the composition. I hope when I'm working on this video, I'm not like, damn, I was so excited about that composition and it turned out terrible. Which happens from time to time, as I'm sure it does for some of you.
To me, landscape photography is all about self-expression, and the creativity that you show can really be done almost anywhere in the world, whether it's high up in some jagged mountains, or on the beach with some little boulders. And if you're one of those people who focuses a bit too much on conditions, I would try and let go of that, because you can shoot beautiful landscape photography under any weather condition, whether it's sunny or it's overcast. And as always, remember, when you're out there, try and have a little bit of fun, because that's the reason most of us shoot photography anyways. And with that, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more. If you want to learn more from me, you can check out my workshops in the description. Thanks again, and I'll catch you in the next one.